So, the weather seemed fantastic a couple of days ago. It felt like we could really plant our way into anything. But we have a season and we've got different marks we've got to hit.
Yes.
Peter Rofner joining us from Richmond Nursery. And as I'm learning, really things need to get started now so that you're ready once the ground thaws to put things in.
Exactly. In Ottawa, we have a shorter growing season than some places further down south. So some plants need a head start before they can finally mature. So for example, peppers, eggplants, especially hot peppers, they need a really good head start. They tend to be slower. And tomatoes, it's time to start those pretty soon, and that way you're going to have, plants that you can plant out in your garden. You get root vegetables, so if you had beets or peas or corn, something like that, you're not going to start those inside. You're going to go directly in the garden because they don't need much time.
So you can wait with those ones
exactly.
a little bit more.
When in doubt, check the back of the package, and it'll tell you how many days and when to start it.
Okay. Now, you probably need some gear, though, because likely, it's a little different than having a little pot in your kitchen by the kitchen window than doing something like this.
Well, you could put them in small pots. It all depends on how much you want to do and how enthusiastic you are. If you're first time trying it out, you might want to start small. So, like we use these, which is 288 cells of plants. So that's a lot of plants.
That is a lot.
Yeah. This is, for us, this is what we use for our early tomatoes and stuff. This is 50 plants. So you can use the peat pots, and there's versions of it like that. And that way you're going to plant it straight in the garden. You don't have to take the pot off, so there's less stress on the plants.
You'll go from that right into the garden.
And the bigger the pot, the longer you can hold it in the pot before it has to transplant. So those guys can only be in there for 3 to 4 weeks before you have to take them out. While here, it can sit in there for a couple of months. So it's a little different.
So, lighting is also key, because I said, okay, can we do this and put it in our garage, or different things for temperatures, but light is the key.
Light is key because the trick in seed, it's not hard to get a seed to come up, but in the greenhouse it's all about height control to make sure it doesn't get long and lanky and floppy, and then there's not much point doing it. You may as well just buy the plant, which is good and sturdy. So we, for example, use artificial light at night and give them an extra 6 hours of daylight, and that'll keep them short. Another trick is keeping them a little bit more on the dry side than wet, because wet plants are going to tend to stretch more. Dry plants are going to send their roots out to try and look for water, so you end up with a stumpier, healthier plant at that point.
Interesting. So. All right, and what are you going to do for us?
Okay, well, I brought some seeds. So, for example, you can see the different ones. These are marigolds, just to see that there's a big diversity. That's kind of like a dandelion-looking seed. This is from a hollyhock, so it's a bigger seed, right? And here I have some tomatoes. Now, a bit of a warning. You can see some of them are pink.
Those are tomatoes?
These are tomatoes. Now, I got 2 types of tomatoes. The yellow ones are called pelleted, so they're coated to make it easier to handle. But when you see pink, that's a warning sign. They've been treated usually with a fungicide to make sure the seedlings don't rot. So if you have kids, watch for pink or green seeds. It'll always say on the package if it's treated as well.
So you go through that then?
Well, we
take out.
No, we use the whole thing, right? I just have a mix of seeds here. So watch out when you have kids that you're wearing gloves or something like that.
Okay, got you. When you're dealing with it.
Exactly. It's fine for the plant and when it gets bigger, but you don't want them to eat it. Beans, for example, will sometimes come treated. And then what I have a trick here is just a piece of sandpaper, some origami, and then you can just tap it. You get 1 to 2 seeds in a pot. That's it. If you have a couple extras, not a big deal. And then check your package, and your package will tell you if you have to cover the seed or if you won't need it exposed to light.
This takes tender love and care to individually put 51 or 2 seeds in each of these pockets.
It does. See, when we use it like that, we have a little machine that helps us out.
But there's no machine to do this.
No.
So this
is what you do at home. Now, of course, it depends how many you want. Like, that would be a heck of a lot of tomatoes right there.
It really would. But do you want to get it further in, or you want to just leave it on top like that?
Well, again, it depends
I'm asking.
No, it depends on the plant. Now, in the case of tomatoes, they do want a bit of cover. So what we'll usually do is take you can take a strainer, put a little bit of the soil in it, and just kind of shake it over.
That's all you need. It's not like you have to actually push that in?
No. The rule is the covering is the thickness of the seed. So the bigger the seed, the bigger the covering. Now, some of them don't want any. Some of them need light. But if you do cover it, it's only as thick as the seed is. So that's very, very little. So shoving them down, they will come up, but they'll take a lot longer.
It'll take a lot longer.
Exactly. So there's a few little tips right there. And I find it's really good.
When will we start to see results for these tomatoes?
In tomatoes, they'll probably be up within a week. Yeah.
It'll look like this.
Well, not like that.
Not like that, but you have to have some.
You'll have the first thing coming up. So what you do when you're done this, you put it in a warm spot. Usually you put a dome on it, okay, a plastic dome, to keep the humidity in, because they want moisture and humidity and warmth to come up. And as soon as they come up, they need lots of light. So as soon as you see them move, because if not, they'll stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch. So lots and lots of light at that point. And then, from here to here, in this case, pansies are shorter, but that's about 4 weeks.
It's really interesting, and people know, especially those that are involved in this, that this is the time to get started.
It is.
And we'll have more information. We're going to take a commercial break. We have more from Richmond Nursery coming your way right after this.